A lone, adjustable bed creaks softly in an otherwise silent room. Sunlight streams through lace curtains, illuminating motes dancing in the stillness. An elderly woman stirs, her wrinkled face etched with the passage of time. This is Eleanor, and at 84, she's lived a full life. Her home reflects this, filled with faded photographs, letters tied with forgotten ribbons, and trinkets from distant lands. Her most treasured possession, though, is the view outside her window. From this vantage point, she's witnessed seasons turn into decades, watching the world change while she remains rooted in place. The day begins like many others for Eleanor. She rises slowly, her joints protesting with pops and cracks. Each movement is deliberate, each breath a conscious act. She pads to the window, drawn by an invisible force, and observes the familiar street. Children skip along the pavement, their laughter echoing upturned trumpets in the vast orchestra of the day. Cars hum like busy bees, their horns providing counterpoint to the bird song. The world is a symphony, and Eleanor, the seasoned conductor, leads it with her gaze. She's seen so much from this very spot, so many lives unfold. Yet hers seems distant, a half-remembered dream. Who was she once more? Question she often asks herself, but never bothers to answer. Why dredge up the past when the present offers such solace? The sunlight feels warm on her skin, the breeze whispers tales of faraway lands, and the flowers in her garden nod their colorful heads in greeting. What more could anyone ask for? But as the day stretches on, the sun climbs higher and the shadows shrink. And as the shadows shrink, so do Eleanor's defenses. The past, once locked away, now peeks through the cracks, trying to break free. She feels a sudden, inexplicable urge to look at the photo albums tucked away on the shelf. With hands gnarled by time, she traces the edges of faces long gone. There's her mother, young and vibrant, her eyes sparkling with mischief. There's her father, tall and strong, his gaze steady and reassuring. And then there he is, the one who set her heart aflame, her first love, her darling Thomas. She remembers the day they met as if it were yesterday. The summer sun beat down on the cobblestone streets, and the air buzzed with the anticipation of a coming storm. Eleanor, barely 16, had been walking home from the market when she saw him standing by the old oak tree. Thomas, a soldier on leave, had come to visit his family. Time seemed to stand still as their eyes met. It was as if the world around them faded away, leaving only the two of them in their own little bubble of bliss. They talked for hours, lost in their own little world, oblivious to the rumble of thunder in the distance. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, they had fallen head over heels in love. It was a love that defied logic, a connection that transcended all boundaries. Their romance blossomed amidst the backdrop of war-torn Europe. Every stolen kiss, every secret rendezvous was a testament to their unwavering devotion. But the happiness was short-lived. Soon Thomas had to return to the front. Before he left, he promised to come back to her, to build a life with her, a future filled with love and hope. With a trembling heart, Eleanor waved goodbye as his train pulled away. She clutched his letter, its creases softening under her fingertips, a tangible reminder of the love that bound them together. Then, just as suddenly as he'd arrived, Thomas was gone, vanished without a trace. The letter arrived on a blustery autumn day, its edges softened by rain, its words blurring with Eleanor's tears. The stark black lettering on the cream paper declared in no uncertain terms that Thomas was dead. Killed in action, gone beyond the reach of love or memory. The world seemed to crumble around her. The vibrant colors of her life drained away, leaving her in a monochrome world of grief. She threw herself onto the adjustable bed, the world a cacophony of sound and fury. Her cries echoed in the empty room, unanswered, unheeded. In her grief she found a strange solace. She would talk to Thomas's picture, pouring out her heart, sharing her joys and sorrows with the one who could no longer hear her. It was a one-sided conversation, a dialogue with the dead, yet it sustained her through the darkest days. But life, as it always does, went on. The seasons turned, the years rolled by, and Eleanor learned to live with her grief. She found comfort in her work, throwing herself into it with a passion that surprised even her. She volunteered at the local soup kitchen, finding solace in serving the less fortunate. She joined a choir, her voice rising in harmony with others who understood the healing power of music. And then one day, unexpectedly, love found her again. It wasn't the fiery, all-consuming love she'd shared with Thomas, but a quieter, deeper kind of love. A man named William, a widower like her, had been drawn to her strength and spirit. He was a solid, dependable man, and together they formed a partnership built on mutual respect and understanding. He didn't try to erase Thomas from her memory. Instead, he stood beside her as she grieved, offering a shoulder to cry on, a hand to hold. When she was ready, he led her out of the shadows of the past and into the sunshine of the present. They traveled, they danced, they laughed, creating new memories to fill the empty spaces in their hearts. William was her rock, her anchor in the storms of life. He gave her a sense of normalcy, a feeling of safety that she hadn't known she'd been missing. Years passed, and Eleanor's life took on a rhythm of its own. The pain of her first love had dulled into a sweet ache, a nostalgic yearning for a time gone by. Her love for William deepened, and she reveled in the simple joys of their life together. The Sunday morning brunches, the quiet evenings spent reading by the fireplace, the lazy afternoons dozing in the garden. Then, as if life itself had orchestrated the perfect crescendo, they were blessed with children, 2 beautiful boys, who filled their home with laughter and love. Eleanor's heart overflowed with a fierce protectiveness. She watched them grow, guided them through life's early lessons, soothed their hurts, and celebrated their triumphs. Each milestone, each achievement, was a reflection of her own journey, a reminder of the cyclical nature of life. Her sons grew up and left home to forge their own paths. Eleanor and William watched with pride, their hearts swelling with a mixture of joy and melancholy. As they waved goodbye to their youngest son on his wedding day, Eleanor felt a lump forming in her throat. It was a bittersweet moment, the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. She stood at the window, her gaze following her son's departing car. The image of him, the embodiment of their love and legacy receding into the distance, mirrored her own fading youth. The realization struck her with the force of a tidal wave. Her children were all grown up and had lives of their own. Soon, she and William would be left with nothing but memories. It was a sobering thought, but not a terrifying one. For Eleanor had lived a full, rich life. She'd loved and been loved, laughed and cried, lived and learned. What more could anyone ask for?
The years slipped by like sand through an hourglass, each grain a moment, each moment precious.
Eleanor's hair turned silver, her skin a roadmap of wrinkles, each line telling a story, each wrinkle hiding a secret. But her eyes, they remained the same, sparkling with the same mischievous glint, holding the same depth of emotion. The fire within her might have dimmed, but it hadn't gone out. Now in her late 80s, Eleanor finds solace in the simple things. A robin singing outside her window, the feel of sunlight on her skin, the taste of tea on her lips. She spends her days tending to her garden, coaxing life out of the soil, nurturing blooms into existence. It's a meditative process that brings her peace, anchoring her to the present moment. Sometimes she throws crumbs to the birds on the windowsill, their chirping a cheerful counterpoint to the ticking clock. Occasionally, a visitor will grace her doorstep, bringing with them the fragrance of the outside world and news of distant places. Her granddaughter, with hair the color of sunshine and eyes full of wonder, is her favorite. The child reminds Eleanor of herself in a different time, full of life and curiosity. And when the granddaughter asks about the old photographs, Eleanor's heart swells. It's in these moments, surrounded by the echoes of the past and the promise of the future, that Eleanor feels most alive. The past isn't a burden for her anymore. It's a source of strength, a wellspring of wisdom. The future, with its uncertainties and challenges, doesn't intimidate her. She's seen enough seasons to know that life always finds a way to bloom again. As the light fades and shadows lengthen, Eleanor prepares for bed. Her bones ache, her eyelids droop, and the silence of the room feels comforting. She looks out the window, the streetlights twinkling like fallen stars. Another day ends, another story written in the book of time. But as she drifts off to sleep, she knows that even in the quietest corners of life, hope flickers like a candle flame, waiting for the gentle breeze to fan it into life.